It's the second week into the 14-day lockdown imposed by the federal government on Nigeria's two major cities, Lagos and Abuja, to contain the Covid-19 pandemic. Now, security operatives have had a hard time enforcing the order. The high point of it is one of the biggest stories at the moment. Ace Nollywood actress Funke Akindele Bello and her husband JJC Skills have been sentenced to 14 days of community service and a fine of 200,000 naira for throwing a birthday bash at their residence in Lagos with more than 20 persons in attendance. These are some of the stories we'll be tracking on the show today. But first, let's start with the crime news. I'm Ivy Kano.
A commercial airline captain and his co-pilot have been arrested for flying an aircraft into Port Harcourt in violation of flight restrictions in and out of Rivers State. The state's Commissioner of Police, Usman Ndaura, said apart from operating without due authorization, the airline and its pilot also brought in passengers whose health status and whereabouts are not known. Samuel Ugoji and Samuel Buhari have been arraigned on a 4-count charge in a magistrate court in Port Harcourt. They will be remanded at the Port Harcourt Correctional Center until the 19th of May.
This aircraft landed without any signal or permission from the authority. We don't know their mission here. Maybe they are coming here to sabotage the activities of the state and the security agencies that have put everything on the ground.
As I speak to you, those passengers are now in the city. We don't even know them. What are their status? We do not know. And that is causing us, or we're going to cause us sleepless nights. Who knows whom they're meeting with?
They flew into the state against the order and directive of the governor with respect to restriction of flight movement. They've been flying into the state, and today we got information and they were arrested. And they confessed to that, and hence they were arraigned.
Thousands of cartons of foreign imported tomato paste have been uncovered in a warehouse by operatives of the Customs Strike Force Team, Zone A. The team also effected the arrest of a Chinese national said to be the owner of the consignment. The Customs Strike Force coordinator says intelligence gathering led to the uncovering and notes that importation of tomato paste in retail form contravenes federal government import guidelines.
Collaboration with other intelligence outside and with synergy built with other agencies, we were able to discover the place. We stormed into the place, we sealed it, and we arrested the Chinese national that owns it. We want to revive, we want to also our local industry to thrive. So importing such a thing will continue killing our local industries. We have this thing, we have farm, we are manufacturing this tomato paste in Nigeria. Why can't we patronize our Nigerian locally made goods?
The Sector 4 of the National Border Drill of the Nigeria Customs in Katsina says it has adopted swift measures to protect its officers and men on the front line from getting infected by the deadly coronavirus ravaging the world. The acting commander, Sector 4, National Border Drill Aliu Mohammed, was speaking at a display of seized items worth 81 million naira from 1st to the 29th of March 2020. These items on display were seized from different locations of the state under the northwestern region of the country, despite the total closure of land borders.
A fertilizer smuggled from Benin Republic, but it was baggage to Nigerian bag, so that they pretend that it's imported by Nigerian government. Having that, we have a sample from Kamba. You see that this fertilizer with a red bag bearing a name from Cotonou. But when they smuggle it and bring it to Nigeria, they will put Nigerian bag. Even if you put Nigerian bag, there's a procedure of bringing fertilizer. You know, we use fertilizer for farming. At the same time, we use fertilizer for some atrocities. That's why we have a control measure. The control measure always comes from the NSA office. You must have end user certificate. Even if it is state government want to import fertilizer, he must acquire end user certificate from the NSA office.
Nollywood actress Funke Akindele and her husband Abdul Rashid Bello, popularly known as JJC Skills, have been sentenced to 14 days community service. They were charged for violating the social restriction orders in Lagos after a video of them celebrating with friends at their residence went viral.
It all started with a private party, which video went viral and said to be posted by Abdul Rashid Bello in Lekki. His comments on social media enraged Nigerians who quickly called for their head, making reference to social distance.
A lot of people are, I guess, ranting and talking online this morning. Yes, it's your data. You are very free.
When she couldn't hold the heat, she quickly apologized.
But putting it out on social media is where we all feel bad about it. I so much support the government on all the works being done to eradicate the pandemic. And I'm sorry if I have misled you with the video.
But the law had to take its course, and the police arrested her for violating the restriction order. 20 hours after the arrest, Funke Akindele Bello and her husband, Abdul Rashid Bello, were arraigned at the Chief Magistrate Court 1, Ogba, on a one-count charge. Detectives from the State Criminal Investigation Department, Yaba, led by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of investigation, DCP Yetunde Longe, brought them to court. The prosecuting team was led by the Attorney General of the Lagos State, Moyoshere Oligbanjo SAN. Soon after, the charge was read to the accused persons. They pleaded guilty. Having been found guilty as charged, they were sentenced as follows. The defendants are to pay a fine of 100,000 naira each, sentenced to 14 days community service, 3 hours per day, excluding Saturday and Sunday. Each defender shall visit 10 important public places within Lagos State to educate the public on the consequences of non-compliance with the restriction order. They must submit the names and phone numbers of every person who attended the party. They shall be placed in isolation by the state government to determine their COVID-19 status, and failure to abide by the above directives shall attract more severe punishments.
These regulations are important. The restriction is not just because the government doesn't want people to move, but it's to protect everybody's life. And the government will not tolerate or permit anybody to endanger others.
Policemen barricaded the road leading to the magistrate court in Ogba to reduce the crowd expected to witness proceedings. Moving closer to the court premises, one could see that no one but lawyers would be allowed into the premises, including journalists. So everyone waited in anticipation. The governorship candidate of the Action Democratic Party, Babatunde Gbadamosi, his wife Folashade, and controversial musician Azeez Fashola, also known as Naira Marley, were to be arraigned for breaching the stay-at-home and social distancing orders in Lagos made by President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The Director of Public Prosecution in Lagos, Yakub Oshoala, who led the prosecution, informed the Chief Magistrate Yewande Ajeafunwa that the government has decided to divert the case out of court, having considered their remorsefulness. The defendants, led by their counsel Olawale Akoni, Ebunolu Adegborua, and Damilola Ayinde Marshal, agreed to the 3 conditions imposed by the government. They are to write a formal apology to the Lagos State government. They must undertake to comply with the directive of the President and Governor of the state. They must also go on a 14-day isolation to protect the public. The defendants thanked the state for the pardon.
We didn't see any problem in these conditions because our clients are law-abiding. So the charges were not read, their pleas were not taken, and the defendant, through their counsel, accepted all the conditions. And the DPP, Mr. Oshoala, applied to withdraw the charge.
So the court adjourned the matter on account that we should all write all those conditions must be complied with before the charge is struck out.
The three persons were among the attendees at a birthday party hosted by actress Funke Akindele Bello for her husband, Abdul Rashid Bello, also known as JGC Skills. The attendance exceeded 20 persons in violation of the government's measures to curb COVID-19 in the state.
It has been a daunting task for the police in Nigeria to enforce the social restriction order since the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic began. Now joining me on the program today to look at the dynamics of social restriction policy is Hakeem Odumosu. He's the Commissioner of Police, Lagos Command. We are going to be talking about the restriction, the lockdown, the social distancing, and how effective it has been, and you know what you've been able to achieve with it. Now I'll start with the Funke Akindele's arrest. What do you intend to achieve with that?
Well, thank you very much. The only thing we intend to achieve is what the law says you should achieve, and that means that everybody should obey the law. And the law is not respecter of anybody, irrespective of age, religion, social status, or academic standards. So that's the only thing, just to achieve what the law sets out to achieve. And that means that if everybody obeys the tenets of the law, so the aim of the government is to stop, and where not possible, to reduce to the barest minimum the ravaging COVID-19. By asking people to stay indoors, and those who have been exempted by the federal government directive and common state government directive now should maintain social distance. Because medically it's been proven that the spread of the virus mostly comes from the mouth when somebody coughs, somebody who has contacted it, from the nose when somebody sneezes, and where social distance is maintained. The distance between the person who has contacted it and the person who has not contacted may likely contact it. If the social distance is maintained now, as it goes, so the velocity it reduces. But if it's very close, it's only contacted. And more so that it is not a disease that is known, that is physical, like I used to say, like leprosy. For the service of that leprosy now, we do not know. So only until the symptoms start coming in. That's why the governor said, maintain social distance where you cannot avoid to be indoors. That's not important.
The social distancing and lockdown has been on. Now, during your enforcement so far, how many arrests have you made? And you know, the number of cars that have contravened the lockdown order?
No, rather the arrest of that one now, I can talk about the vehicles. I've said it severally now. We are being on a persuasive enforcement because the government does not have the intention of punishing the citizen. And that is why the government went further to relax those that are in the net of not to move. Initially, when presidential directive was given out, so markets were not captured. Banks were not captured. That is, the banks were not exempted. Only telecommunications, so the media, the medicals, the medications, and the personnel, so the port authority, then those, the petroleum industry, so all those was now the eatery, food processing, all those are the ones that were captured. But along the line, in the government's wisdom, so banks were equally exempted with skeletal services. So right 24 hours prior to the enforcement. In the same government wisdom too now, realizing that people have been at home now, government colleagues decided now to further relax by now bringing in markets and say that people can go to market between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And the most now could be between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Give them a window of 2 hours now to wind up. So by 6, already will have wound up. So with all these ones now, it's just to show the sensitivity of government to the human compassion. So that is why. So with this, with this government having this background now, we are equally tutoring to that. Directive was given to us by Inspector General of Police. We thought the government would. So we're back on persuasive enforcement. So when we meet them doing what they all know to do, where they all know to be now, we call them. We talk to their conscience. This thing you are doing now, don't think that the government just want to punish you by asking you to stay at home. I got some commercial buses sometime prior to this one now, and I saw them. So at Lagos Island, prior to the presidential one, when the state government had its own, and that they should sit creating social distance in the vehicle. But they are used to packing passengers even like sardine. So with that, I got to ask them to come down. Even the government vehicles, I said, I have to come down. You should sit 2-2. And I tried to educate both the drivers and the conductors. They are looking at their take home, what they have been making. And without they now say this economic loss. But I made them to understand that it's better for you to make 2 naira per day. You are making 10 naira. Now because of this disease, you have to make 2 naira. Go home with that 2 naira to take care of your family. Than making that 10 naira you used to make. Only for you now to go and use now to cater to cure disease with 20 naira. You ended up borrowing more. So when I discussed this with them now, they realized the wisdom in it. And instantly on their own, because I am like the drivers, I gather them together, even the passengers. I let them know the importance of it. That was the persistency for. So instantly now, on their own now, they started bringing more vehicles out and asking the passengers. Those that were paid in that civil now, refunded their money to them. Asked them to enter the other bus. That is persuasive enforcement. So they complied voluntarily.
Okay.
So with this one now, we have let or know that have been arrested, but vehicles are impounded.
How many
so
vehicles?
As of today now, we have 632 impounded, and 70% are commercial vehicles. And we have appealed to their leaders. I have reason now to call the leadership of the National Union and Road Transport now to appeal to their members. They have a misconception. And the misconception is that they have the belief that it is a curfew between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So they can come out after evening. That's one contributor to it.
Okay, so now, in carrying out this, what are the challenges that you faced?
Oh, there's no specific challenges, because in enforcing anything, there must challenge. Number one, we are enforcing the law against a fellow human being. Somebody, for example, as an armed robber, is going to steal. Before going to steal, he will kneel down and pray, God, don't let them catch me. Please, God, don't let me be caught. And he's going to steal. And the person who wants to go and steal property from now, will you call it pray, God, don't let armed robber come to me. You see this? It's a social one. So when something happens now, and the armed robber is officially caught, you don't expect him now voluntarily to give us his hand, to follow us. All those challenges, but those are the ones that we are trained with. So the major challenge I just talk about is that those who still have the doubt that coronavirus is not a poor man disease, that it's a big man disease, that coronavirus is not a local virus, it's not a Nigerian virus, it's those that travel that brought coronavirus. They that are not even eating, where would they get money now to fly outside the country to go and get coronavirus? So with that mentality now, if a big man contacts it, and that driver, big man in quote, according to them now, and the driver that drives that big man, what are the security, the gate man or that man? So when the man comes down now, for one thing or the other, he touches the handle of the gate. And we are told that the other virus lives for some time on metals. And the security man now happens to touch the handle of that gate now to open it. Thereafter, he goes to his family. In that area, it's being spread. So this one takes a long time, advocacy. And when people say now, oh, I'm hungry, when people say, I want to go out. For you now to convince them not to go out, it takes a little patience more. These are just the little challenges that we have. So not major challenges that makes it insurmountable. But you need to let people know that for this reason now, you do. And we have been having some compliances. For example, now we have so many people there for yesterday on Bagada. It went viral now. They turned that Bagada from Anthony into gymnastic, to a gym. Yeah. All those ones are there.
I was going to ask you have that all over.
Yes, they were there. It's not coming all over Lagos. But because we didn't even anticipate it, so they had their field yesterday. We got there, we spoke to them. But today, before they came out, we are there. So as early as 4 a.m., we are there. So as they are coming out now, they met us. I started telling them, this is what shouldn't be, this is what shouldn't be. Because there's no way you do exercise at times without body contact. There are some, you have to have a body contact. Just as somebody playing football and saying without body contact. It's very difficult. Play football without body contact. So those one now, this morning now, we persuaded them about it. And being the class of people they are, they equally, they understood with us now, they appreciate what you have done now, and they dispersed without anybody being shouted out. Today, everything has been curtailed, and we shall continue to sustain this. So with our other sister security organizations, that is the Army, the Navy, the Air Force now, so even the Civil Defense, even the Lagos State Neighborhood Watch now, we are coopting everybody into it because it's a collective one. Even the road safety corps. So that's what we use that one. It's still persuasive enforcement. We are there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you did yesterday. You are coming in. Don't come in tomorrow. This for this, is for this, for this, for this. Why can't we stay at home? Don't need anything. You just get it fatter, get it fatter. That's why I come to do exercise. But you can do exercise within your compound. You can do it in front of your house. You don't need a wide space for 1 man's exercise. What is the size of our body? That's exercise. No more than 6 feet. So you can do exercise with it. So we persuaded them. We told them this one now. And they realized. And they left. So that's what we have been doing. Now we shall continue to do that until the lockdown is lifted. If you have access to the nose mask now, have it. If you have access now to the sanitizer now, use it. So wherever they are going to. And to increase our environmental hygiene.
With the emerging social restrictions and lockdowns in Nigeria, intelligence reports suggest a possible increase in the rate of cyber crimes. Here are some tips against criminal elements that might want to take advantage of the COVID-19 emergency.
Online scammers are taking advantage of the fear surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. Here are some tips to help you keep scammers at bay. Do not open letters or mails from unknown persons who claim to be health experts. Be mindful of fake news, deliberate misinformation, and avoid circulating unverified messages. Be wary of scammers who use names of prominent companies to create fraudulent websites. Use strong passwords to secure your email and social media handles. Educate your family, especially your children, about how to stay safe online and offline. If you become a victim, ensure prompt report to the police.
That's our package for today. You can join us for more updates on all our social media platforms at TVC News NG using the hashtag CrimeWatch. Remember, to reduce the spread of the coronavirus, wash your hands frequently, maintain social distancing, avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. And if you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. I'm Ivy Kano. Do have a crime-free week.